So, according to Capgemini's 2021 Global Wealth Report, 80% of the wealth owners and wealth advisors need to settle for 80% of wealth data visibility, right? And this is normally due to the fact that they are dealing with, let's say, unstructured, delayed, or manually assembled information. What drives us is to provide 100% data visibility, and that happens through the ingestion of large volumes of information that we then present in a 100% singular view for these important actors of the wealth management industry.
Welcome to the AssetRush talk. I'm super excited to see you here today. And Luis, you have a Spanish name. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Thank you, Martha, for having me. Yes, I'm half Spanish and half Swiss. I was born and grew up in Spain, and then went to college in Spain and in Germany, and then ended up in Switzerland in 2003. So I've been almost 20 years living in Switzerland.
And are you missing anything from Spain?
Well, I'm missing a couple of things, but I value all the positive things that Switzerland has. Someone told me recently that Switzerland is for many people a difficult country to adapt, but it's a much more difficult country to leave once you understand the benefits that you have here.
But that's, I can totally relate to that, but I would say I have been very fortunate. I'm also now 20 years here, so I love Switzerland, but I've just been to Mallorca and it was so beautiful. So that's why I had to ask you, coming from Spain, it's a bit of a different mentality, but being here is always like a paradise. So we have everything of all the good worlds here.
I agree.
So Switzerland is also a very innovative company, and I know you are very strong in innovation. Yeah. So when you think about innovation, what drives you and what is it what your company is doing in innovation?
Right. So according to Capgemini's 2021 Global Wealth Report, 80% of the wealth owners and wealth advisors need to settle for 80% of wealth data visibility, right? And this is normally due to the fact that they are dealing with, let's say, unstructured, delayed, or manually assembled information. What drives us is to provide 100% data visibility, and that happens through the ingestion of large volumes of information that we then present in a 100% singular view for these important actors of the wealth management industry.
We both have a bit of similar background in wealth management, and I know the frustration of clients when they can't see what they have. Yeah. And I believe you do something very special because it's not the normal assets you only have, but they can see much more. What is it what they can see much more?
So in our technology, we present the information without any bias. So wealth is considered holistically. So we consider assets regardless of their nature. So whether they are tangible, intangible, liquid, illiquid. We look at it from a holistic point of view and present it, as I said, in a singular 100% view.
So let's assume I have, which I don't have, but I would love to have, a big wine cellar. What can I do with it?
Well, you could consider your wine cellar, your real estate, your bank accounts, if these assets are held by different investment vehicles, if you set up trusts or foundations, your companies. So you could create what we refer as to a global wealth map that will include all these different assets and show them in a structure that will give you the big picture, but also the granularity of each of the single assets that you have.
And can I see it on my mobile phone even? Or?
Yes, you can. You have the possibility, you have all three channels available, so you can see it in your computer, you can see it in your iPad, and you can see it in your mobile phone.
But that's great. But let's say we talk about the next level. Have you thought about, and that's obviously totally unscripted, so I allow myself to ask this question, sure. Augmented reality, so a bit like Minority Report where I can see all my portfolio and I can move it. Is that something you have in your mind?
Yes, absolutely. We have been investing in innovation from the very beginning. And we have been thinking years ahead where the industry is going, also by having empathy of the client's needs. And innovation has been so far part of our technology in terms of the data feed technology that we use, in terms of artificial intelligence that we use, in terms of machine learning, so different elements. So virtual reality is something we are also considering in the, I would say, midterm, probably, as a next frontier to be present at.
That's amazing. I think that's really the big next step also for wealth managers to go there and show the entire portfolio. And what I really loved your point about empathy. In my experience also a lot of the advisors that don't really have empathy. And you are in good company because Satya Nadella, also from Microsoft, he said, okay, the best skills for innovation, what is it? It's empathy. So I think it's very, very important, and I'm very happy you mentioned this, and you also live this. Obviously, as a half Spanish person, if I may say, you have a lot of empathy for people from your cultural background point of view. So do you see now with the clients, and in particular the private clients in the crypto space, what's happening now? How do they feel about it? What makes the difference to them? Because we see that family offices, I think, also want to move forward into crypto, but they might also be concerned about certain things. What is it, what you can share with us, what you notice from clients?
Well, we definitely see that digital assets are becoming more and more relevant. Right? As another way of diversification. I think there it's important to have a technology that is agile, that is where innovation is key to keep pace with new investment asset classes. And I think that's one of the characteristics of Mastro. We have been working with family offices now for over 10 years. I think the first step before considering even the asset classes is the step to have a technology in the first place that supports them, right? So family offices have been reluctant to go one step forward from the pre-internet technology that they were using before. But what we have been seeing in the last years is that this step towards digitalization is becoming more and more a reality. So they have understood that in order to become more efficient, to have more reliable information, and especially to have 100% visibility of their assets, they need to go for technology.
So have you seen, or we have heard, let's say, also about the crypto whales, and they must have family offices. So have you seen a big push into crypto, or what's your view or your insight on that?
Mm-hmm. We have seen a big push. We have seen many of our clients having their wallets and having their investments in crypto. We have also been recently asked about NFTs and how we can reflect that in our technology. I think it's just the next step, right? So I think what's important for us is that, Martha, we don't make a distinction because for us, we consider data just to be data. So we don't enter into the distinction of who the counterpart is or what kind of data it is. So in our view, what we do is we receive information for our clients in the most various formats, in the most various layouts, and we transform that information for the benefit of our clients, and then present it in this singular 100% view. And also that we do with digital assets.
Yeah, but that's great. I think there are not many people in the market who can do that, and that's probably also a big issue for wealth management, and in particular their clients. It's not only the family offices, but it's the normal clients. So it would be fantastic if, apart from the family offices, are you considering more towards, let's say, even retail clients, or is that not in your spectrum?
The wealth management industry has benefited the least from the fourth industrial revolution that we're in, right? So
you're talking about Web3, digital assets, blockchain.
Exactly, and digitalization as such, right? So big data and also connectivity, right? So everything that is cloud-based or, let's say, connected. Yeah. So I think that in the wealth management industry, still the most famous tool that is used is this famous spreadsheet calculation program, right? It starts with an E and ends with an L, right? And this is where the big opportunity is for the industry. Our offering is right now directed more into family offices and wealth advisors. So we're talking B2C and B2B2C more than, let's say, retail clients. Whether we're going to have a version of our technology for retail clients, probably we will, as a second or third step. But so far, our efforts are directed into the higher segment of the wealth management industry.
Yeah, I could imagine the more this becomes mainstream in terms of digital assets, the more obviously the need will be there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have seen that more and more that people love to, apart from the crypto wealth, more and more love to pay in cryptocurrency. They need a better overview. And one of the biggest challenges, in my view, also we have that people don't understand what their financial wealth is. Yeah? Mm-hmm. They don't know how to save, so it would really help them, even if it's not a high net worth individuals, as in particular for more financial inclusion, to have this kind of tools which are not only provided by Revolut, but also by other wealth managers. So definitely there's a huge opportunity, which recently BCG also outlined as 1 trillion opportunity, even though part of the entire world is very small, 1 to 2%, but I do think it's a lot. Mm-hmm. So yourself, are you in the metaverse?
No, today not. I mean, we are not in the metaverse. We, of course, follow this evolution very closely and are also having our thoughts about it. I think there are internal discussions going on regarding our participation and how we and when we and how we will participate. But as of today, we're not. I think we're very, involved into everything that is digital and, bringing, closing the gap in terms of connectivity, of using machine learning, using artificial intelligence. But the metaverse is also a next step that at some point we will consider to be part of.
Yeah, and you already mentioned you look at augmented reality for the app, so I would say that's a first step. It's a Pokemon Go for wealth management, so to speak. Yes. So it would be amazing if this is already done, and I've seen some UX designers who are already working on this. So it will be really, really exciting for clients to see that, like Tom Cruise in his Minority Report, where he can really touch and does this whole thing, which from a technology point of view, I also understand from you, is feasible. It's not something Absolutely. Which only is in 10 or 15 years. Yeah? So that's I think, for clients extremely interesting.
I agree, and I think we have already had conversations with virtual reality companies to see how we could translate our, let's say, already visual tool that is very user-friendly, our technology that is extremely user-friendly, from the 2D to a 3D reality, so that it would be even more intuitive and even more user-friendly.
And for yourself, how do you feel about the new technology, and how do you feel about the virtual world? And you mentioned also the beauty of Switzerland, the beauty of Spain. Now in the virtual world, how do you feel about it? What's your view? For you as a person, as an individual?
For me as an individual, I think there is a big opportunity, because I believe in the benefits of technology to make life easier, to reduce or close gaps, make life more comfortable. I think that there is a big benefit for that. I'm just worried or concerned that at some point we may lose contact, and that we may end up everyone in the virtual reality as a way of fleeing from the reality that may be a bit more complicated or just a bit more difficult. And I think if we watch this aspect, I think not to lose our humanity in this exercise, then I think there is a brilliant future in front of us using virtual reality.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So ethics is very, very important, and being down to earth and knowing where you're from, and the humanity aspect, I think is extremely important. We have seen that with Pokemon Go, augmented reality, and the founder of this is Niantic, and he has a similar view to you. He's even very, very dismissive of the metaverse as such. He says we do a kind of metaverse, but we want the people to come together to have this Pokemon Go experiences so that they wander around, have connection, and be still in the real world. Yeah, so we don't want dystopian view of Oasis or Ready Player One, as you described it. That's not what we want, but I do think it's, as you say, we have a brilliant future in front of us. So your crystal ball, basically, when you look into this, what do you see? And maybe we take only 5 years, because 10 years is so long away and things are happening so far. So for more generally, not only for your firm, but where are we going to, where are we moving to? What's your best guess?
I believe we're going to a reality where digitalization will be then fully completed. I mean, we barely started, and especially in the wealth management industry, starting that process. So we still want to run before we're able to walk, which is also important because that's how we shape the future, and this is how we define new trends, right? So some people need to be looking quite years ahead, a decade or even more, in order for the rest of the world to follow. I think in 5 years, technologically speaking, there is not a big jump to expect in terms of everyone being present in the metaverse or the virtual reality, let's say, already present in everybody's life. But I think in terms of digitalization, we will be a step ahead. Let's say, considering now that 5G is a reality right now, that is an important step forward in terms of speed that drives connections and connectivity. I think that will mean that in the next 5 years, we will be faster and easier connected for many aspects of our work and our private life.
Yeah, I tend to agree and disagree with that. So I do think that everyone will have exposure to the metaverse in terms of working, because instead of Zoom, it will be the next Zoom elevated, like Microsoft does it already with Microsoft Mesh, or as we have seen from Facebook. But I agree with you, not everyone will be fully virtual. Yeah? But I also agree with you that digitization is the first step, which has to be completed, in particular in the wealth management space, but probably the development is faster than we think, as always. So change happens always faster than we think, slowly, and then it's just happening. Yeah?
Well, it's happening. I agree, Martha. The point is, I think most of the people do not realize it until it happens. There are always first movers that participate, and as you're saying, that take advantage of it, and then the crowd follows. So I think that is definitely something that will happen also in this case.
So I'm very, very convinced that you will be one of the first movers who has augmented or virtual reality for, let's call it an app. It's not an app, but for your application in the wider way, where clients can really see the entire world, including NFTs, including their wine cellar, including cars. Anyway, they can do that now. But I think the most exciting one is the crypto space and the digital art space, which we have seen before. So thanks a lot for sharing the future with us, how you see it, and for being here with us. And I love to see you tomorrow then. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's event. I think it's going to be terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.